Hello, and welcome to your video guide to assembling and enjoying your new Sunshine Garden House. By watching this program, you'll get the knowledge you need to successfully build your garden house. Plus, tips for making the construction go more smoothly. Get a friend to help you. Assembly takes 2 people. While many people can complete the assembly in just a few hours, you may want to split the work into 2 days or over a weekend. While much of your garden house is pre-assembled, let's take a quick look at the tools you'll need for the final assembly. The primary assembly tool is a screwdriver. Now take a tip from professional assemblers. Use a power screwdriver or a power drill with a star or Phillips head screwdriver bit. You'll also need a 6-foot step ladder. You may want safety glasses for eye protection for your project, a 12-foot tape measure, flexible construction gloves for hand protection, and while optional, 3 tubes of silicone-based clear caulk to seal the joints and glazing. Before you start your assembly, make sure your site for your garden house is prepared. That is, locate your garden house at least 5 feet from any adjoining structure or property line, or follow your local building code. Have a space at least 6 foot by 8 foot that is level and clear of debris. See your printed instructions about anchoring the garden house to concrete, wood, or other surfaces, and make sure those anchors are in place before you start assembly. It is also a good idea to have a clear space in which you can lay out your shipping cases and unpack your materials. Keep the materials from the packages together to make them easier to locate during assembly. Let's take a look at the materials in the 4 boxes, one by one. There are 3 lengths of screws used to assemble your garden house. Make sure you use the correct screw for the correct application. 3/4 inch, 1 1/4 inch, and the 2 1/2 inch sizes. To give your garden house a long life, we start by assembling the special plastic lumber found in box number 4. Lay these pieces of plastic lumber out on a warm, flat surface if necessary, so they can regain their original flat and straight appearance. Start by laying out the sidewall bases. These are the 2 longer pieces. And the front and back wall base pieces of plastic wood on your prepared level surface. To make your assembly easy, you'll find each piece is clearly labeled like this. Start at a corner. Place the stub in the corner like this to make sure that you have room to insert the corner posts later on. Get out your power screwdriver and some 1 1/4 inch screws. Drive in the screws.
Pass it.
While you want solid construction, tighten the screws only until snug. It's easy to over-tighten screws when using a power screwdriver or drill. Take the stub with you and assemble the next corner like this. Then, go to the third and fourth corner to complete the base assembly. Now, make sure the baseboards are square and level. Measure diagonally from corner to corner. Then, check the other set of diagonal dimensions. If one diagonal is more than a ½ inch longer than the other, give the short diagonal a little tug and measure again. It is critical that the base be level and square. Locate the back and front wall panels. They're in box number 3. Starting with a back wall panel, set it in place like this, sliding the corner post into its corner bracket. Note that there is a piece of tape on some of the connector holes. Do not place screws through these holes. Use the untaped holes only. Get some 1 1/4 inch screws and fasten this back panel to the base like this. Put in the other back panel like this. And again, secure it with 1 1/4 inch screws. Like with the rear panels, get a front panel from box number 3. Put it in place and secure it using 1 1/4 inch screws. Put the other front panel in place like this, and again secure it with 1 1/4 inch screws. From box number 2, get the 2 triangular shaped panels. Let's start with the rear panel. Holding the rear top panel like this, set it into place with the connectors facing in. Make sure there is a continuous line from the top panel down to the rear panel. Using 1 1/4 inch screws, fasten this panel into place. Now, get the top front panel and set it in place, making sure it is properly fitted. Using 1 1/4 inch screws, fasten the top front panel into place like this. From box number 4, locate the sidewall top plates and take them to your assembly area. Place the sidewall top plates here, like this, and see how it's lined up. Using 1 1/4 inch screws, attach the sidewall top plate like this. Drive the screws only into the open, untaped holes. Do the same on the other side of your garden house. From box number 4, get the roof ridge, a square piece of wood with 2 connectors on it. Position the roof ridge so the attached connectors face down, and the connector located about 1/4 between the end and the center is nearest the front wall. Use the shorter 3/4 inch screws. Fasten the roof ridge in place in the untaped holes, front and back. From box number 3, locate the back vent panel and take it to the assembly site. Slide the back vent panel snugly up into position so the vent swings freely at the base. Using the long 2 1/2 inch screws, fasten the top like this. Now, use 4 more 2 1/2 inch screws to fasten the panel into place through the pre-drilled holes. Make sure the rear vent panel swings freely after installation. From box number 1, locate the 4 sidewall panels and take one of them to the assembly area. The wall panels are all identical. With the metal connectors facing inside and the metal connectors on the top, slide a side wall panel snugly into position. Drive 2 1/2 inch screws into the 2 pre-drilled holes at the corner. Now, get a second prefabricated wall panel from box number 1 and install it like this. With the new panel being pressed into position at the front wall, the 2 panels are held together and then pressed in at the center. Drive 2 1/2 inch screws into the 2 pre-drilled holes at the corner. From the inside, drive 4 2 1/2 inch screws into the pre-drilled holes at the wall's inside center. Now, from the outside, drive 1 1/4 inch screws through the top plate connectors, again lifting any sag from the top plate. Repeat this process for the other side wall panels. On the sidewall top plate, look carefully and note the 48-inch mark on the front wall on both sides of the top plate. While our assemblers are measuring and marking it here, we've made these marks for you already. From box number 2, locate the roof panels and take them to the assembly site. Please note, the roof panels are not interchangeable. They are not identical. The labels indicate the position for each roof panel when you are facing the front door, looking at the garden house from the outside. Starting with the right rear roof panel, slide it into the roof ridge connector. Align the roof panel with the 48-inch mark on the sidewall top plate. Locate the pre-drilled hole nearest the mark and start fastening the roof panel using 7 2.5-inch screws through this hole and through the other 6 pre-drilled holes.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Flush, good. Yeah.
As with the other roof panel, position it, align it properly, and fasten it in place.
All right. Yes.
Slide the front roof panel into the roof ridge connector.
Very good.
As with the other roof panel, position it, align it properly, and fasten it in place.
More. Okay. Okay.
From box number 4, locate the collar tie and take it to the assembly area. Take the collar tie inside the greenhouse. At the midpoint where the side walls and the roof meet, position the collar tie. Fasten the collar tie using 2.5-inch screws through the pre-drilled holes. From box number 4, locate the apex, an 8-foot long 2x2, and take it to the assembly area. Simply lay the board in the V at the top of the garden house. It is not attached. From box number 2, locate the flashing, 2 long metal pieces, and take them to the assembly area. Cover the apex board with the pieces of flashing. Make sure that they overlap about 2 inches at the center. Attach the flashing through pre-drilled holes using 1¼ inch screws. This fastens both the flashing and apex in place. Carefully cut and attach the self-adhesive insulating tape to the inside of the vent perimeter. From box number 1, locate the roof vent, which is in 2 pieces, A and B, and take them to the assembly area. Insert the glazing of part B into the groove of part A, with the hinges on the inside. Fill the hinge connector holes with 3/4 inch screws. Fasten the reinforcing connectors to the side of the vent using 1 1/4 inch screws. Up on the roof, rest the roof vent over the opening of the ridge of the roof. Align the shim under the hinge. Attach the vent using 1 1/4 inch screws driven in through the hinge holes. From box number 4, locate the vent operator parts. Place the black cylinder portion of the vent operators in the refrigerator, not the freezer, for about an hour to make them easier to compress. At your garden house, center the vent operator bracket on the roof vent frame like this. Using 1 1/4-inch screws, attach the bracket. Center the vent operator bracket so the rear vent frame looks like this. Using 1 1/4-inch screws, attach the bracket. Has it been about an hour? Get the black cylinders, the piston, from the refrigerator. Place the piston through the sleeve with the sleeve pointing down. Insert the pin in the outermost holes of the piston. To detach the automatic operators from manual operation or to prevent opening, simply squeeze the sidebars together and release them from the bracket. Make sure the vent system is allowed to operate freely. Keeping the vents from opening or closing when they are attached to the piston will damage it. From box number 3, locate the last remaining parts, the wind stops, and take them to the site. Center the top wind stop 3/4 of an inch into the door opening and secure it with 1 1/4-inch screws. Now, affix the wind stops to the sides of the doors, butting them into the top wind stop like this. At the rear vent of your garden house, center the top windstop 3/4 of an inch into the opening and secure it with 1 1/4 inch screws. Now, affix the windstops to the sides of the rear vent, butting them up against the top windstop. Almost done. Finish your garden house by affixing the door hardware.